Hi, everybody. I'd like to take a moment with you today to think about why this week, Holy Week, is worthy of our reflection and our worship. And I want to do that by exploring with you the concept of the cup. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed, "Father, if possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." There's something about this cup that's creating great anguish in the heart of Jesus. And yet in that moment, perhaps the most decisive moment in our redemption, earthly speaking, Jesus prays out of a heart of surrender, yielding to the Father's will, to drink this cup. Well, the question is, what is the cup? Why would Jesus use that term, and why does it create such anguish in the heart of Jesus? Well, in the Old Testament, the cup referred to the fury and judgment of God's wrath poured out on sin. We see this all throughout the Old Testament. We see it in Psalms, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Habakkuk, Zechariah, Job, and Obadiah. And so there's strong evidence that this is exactly what Jesus was referring to. And of course, is this not what the cross is all about? That there Jesus bore the fury of God's judgment and wrath for our sin as a sacrifice. When Jesus arrived at Golgotha, he was offered a drink from another cup, wine mixed with myrrh. This served as a sedative to calm the prisoners before they were, or as they were being secured to the cross. But Jesus refused to drink from that cup. He would allow nothing to cloud his mind, nothing to minimize his experience of taking upon himself all that our sin deserved, and he would allow nothing to detract his mind from a focused intent on his Father, never for a moment taking his eyes off of trusting his Father. Throughout the time on the cross, you can imagine how hard this was on Jesus, not only the loss of blood, the asphyxiation, but also severe, intense dehydration. Up to this point, Jesus had drank nothing but the Father's cup. But in John 19, verse 28, it says, Jesus, knowing that all things had been accomplished, and to fulfill Scripture, said, "I am thirsty." And he was given a little sour wine. What that indicates to us, my friends, is that Jesus drank the full cup. He drank it until every drop of the Father's wrath and judgment and fury for our sin was expended. He did it so that we would never have to drink of that cup of the fury of God's wrath. And so that we can say, for all who are in Christ, all who treasure Christ as God's beloved and our beloved, we can say, there is therefore now no condemnation